We have done 3 days of kind of building ourselves up, a life evaluation, heart-centered living, and then redesigned our life and decided on 3 things to add in and 3 things to let go of. Now with that, that's all fine and good, right? But if we know anything about ourselves, we get like really gung-ho and really fired up. We're like amped, right? Like we drink the Mountain Dew and we're just like, yeah. And then it wears off and we're not motivated and we're not ready to keep going. We know we kind of live life like this, and that's part of life. There's ups and there's downs, and there's times where we're really working on goals, and then there's times of rest, rejuvenation, and that's the way life should be. But we shouldn't throw out the things that are important to us because of the external pressures. You see the difference? We will have ups and downs, and there are definitely times to strive for goals, and then there are times to just like let things settle. It's like the seasons, right? So we have times where we're outdoors and we're active. We have the spring and the summer. And then the fall, we kind of become a little more like, I'm going to stay in and sit by the fire and like drink my hot cocoa. In the winter, we really come and hibernate. And then the spring, we come out again and we have a good time. The world has this cycle, and so do we. So there does not need to be this constant striving. Constant striving is exhausting. There needs to be growth, and then times to just let things marinate, and times to just be, and times of more relaxing and not so much striving. But there is a difference between relaxing intentionally and putting yourself on the back burner for everybody else's needs and wants. Do we see the difference there? Do we see how we lose ourselves in fulfilling the needs of other people's hearts, and we neglect the needs of our own heart? And I think if a lot of us were honest with ourselves, one of the needs of our heart is rest and relaxation and just enjoying life without so much striving. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. And the thing we're going to do today is actually looking forward. So looking forward, here's something we need to know. We need to know that motivation is not constant. We are not going to be constantly motivated to live a fulfilling life. We're just not. Motivation can't determine your action. So what creates my action if I know I'm not going to be motivated all the time? And there's a few things that can help you get focused on your action, and your action might be rest. There's a few things that can get you focused on your action or the things you're working towards, besides hoping that motivation will just push you forward. And here's a few of these things. When we decide to live a heart-centered life, we need to remember our why. So why do you want to add in these 3 things? Why do you want to let these 3 things go? Why do you want to live a life that fills you up and is heart-centered? These are all questions that you have to ask yourself, and you need to come up with answers with, because I could give you a why to do it, but if it's not coming, once again, if it's not coming from the inside and it's my external thoughts that are telling you what to do, once again, that becomes a burden. But if you have an internal driving force as to why you do these things, I will give you some examples, but these do not need to be your whys. Because you love yourself, because you're deserving, because you're worthy, because your old lady or old man self would want you to, because people you love, because you deserve to have a life where you show up, because you don't want to rob the world of your uniqueness. You don't want to rob yourself of this one life. As far as we know, we get one life. You don't want to rob yourself of not living it in a fulfilling way. These are all reasons. These are all whys. These are deep whys too. Like, ooh, maybe one of those just like hit you in the soul, or maybe a bunch of them did. And if they did, write those down. What are your whys? So our whys can kind of drive us forward. But another thing that we can do is a practice, and it's kind of a mental practice. And what you do here is you imagine you've added these 3 things in, and you've imagined you've let go of these 3 things. And we're just starting with 3 of each because that's doable. It's doable, and too many things mean no focus. Focus equals change. Remember that. Focus equals change. All the things that we get distracted by don't equal change, but focus equals change. Not lots of things. Focus. So if I were to add in these 3 things and I were to let go of these 3 things, what would my life look like 6 months from now? We're in December 2020, January, February, March, April, May, June 2021. What would my life look like if I have consistently added in these 3 things and let go of these 3 things? What would my life feel like 6 months from now? What will have changed in my life 6 months from now? Who will I have become by adding in these 3 things and letting go of those 3 things? It'd be a really powerful exercise to imagine yourself as already being successful and already being this person who has added in these things and let go of these things. And here's the thing. If you have chosen those things to add in and let go, you are already that person. The second you decide you are worthy, you don't earn it anymore. You just are. The second you decide that the things of your heart matter, you don't have to prove that. They just do matter. So if you decide that you are this person who is adding in these 3 things and letting go of these 3 things, and this is who you are now, there is so much power in that. This is not someone you're striving to be. It is who you are now. So maybe it is, I am going to let go of self-doubt. So I may say something like, I am somebody who moves forward with confidence in myself. And the second I decide that, it's true. Maybe another thing you're letting go of could be worrying about the opinions of others. Turn that to an I am statement. I am someone who stays in my lane and moves forward intentionally and doesn't get distracted by the opinions of others. So the power is in believing this is who you are now. And not someone you're striving to be. It's who you are because you've decided that. So 6 months from now, and I like to do 6 months instead of a year. A year is a very long time. And this year was a really long time. So let's shorten it. 6 months. Maybe you decide, who would I be a month from now if I added these 3 things or let go of these 3 things? You pick the time frame. Who would you be? These questions are your future self. I've added in these 3 things. I've let go of these 3 things. What does it look like? Feel like? What has changed in your life? And who have you become? And if you need to take that further, you can think of, how would my relationships be different? How would my mental health be different? How would my physical health be different? How would my finances be different? Take these back to those 3 areas of your life that you really wanted to focus on. How would those 3 areas be different? If the things you've chosen contribute to those areas of your life that you really want to focus on, then you have picked very magical, important things. Oh, it gives me goosebumps because sometimes we pick magical, important things to do in our life and we don't realize that we did until we hit that 3 months from now, that 6 months from now, and we look back and we have become someone different. We don't know what magic and peace and fulfillment will come through the things we choose until it's there. And then the decision you made right now, future you will be like, thank you for making that decision. I am so proud of you that made that decision. So we do these 3 things. We let go of these 3 things. How will you have changed? How will your life be different? And then we also go back to our whys. What are my whys for doing these 3 things to add in, 3 things to let go. Why? And if you can't come up with a compelling why, then maybe we change those 3 things on either side. If you can't come up with a why for one of these things to invite in or add in, then let's pick a different thing. We need a compelling why, and we need a compelling vision of our future self, who is actually us now. We are our future self. We're the same person. We don't just jump from the chapters of our lives and become a different person. We are the same. We are the same soul. We are the same being. And there is a connection from who we used to be to who we are now. And there's a connection from who we are now to who we will be in the future. This is all intertwined and connected. So who we are in the future is who we are now. And we manifest that. We become that. And what manifesting means is I'm going to just live that way. I am going to live as if I am this person and not live with the current beliefs I have about myself. Because I know the magic isn't there. The magic is in that. The magic isn't in the way I've been living. It's in the way my heart tells me I want to live. And I need to live. And it feels good. And you have this knowing. Your worksheet today will have a place to write your whys and a place to write the answers to the questions about future you. That is your homework for today. Post about it in the comments of this video when you've completed it, or take a picture or share something compelling about it that just lights you up. And I hope these things you've picked just light you up. When you imagine future you having added in these things and let go of these things, you're like, oh, that's who I am. That's who I am. And then the next step will be to begin to release the shame, the blame, the guilt that we feel like we also have to carry. But that's a whole nother lesson. That's a whole nother area. So let's get to work today. Get this done. Your whys and future you. Let's do it.